Hey everyone, my name is David Dunbar, or the Theme Park Evangelist. Last How I Met Kay and TJ YouTube vlogged for the night, and then I'll call it the quits for now until tomorrow, because I've got all day tomorrow, and I'm gonna do some homework tomorrow for sure. As I said in my last vlog, I'm in the last 2 weeks of being done with my anatomy and physiology class, which means I'll have more time to YouTube once I go back to work again. And the funny thing is, I go back to work after being out with this really bad sickness, which I will not speak of, for the past few weeks. I am also moving next month, but I will still try to find time to um, work on my YouTube channel, and even if it means getting out of the house. Also, as I'm coming to a close of my anatomy and physiology class, now I also will have time to work on a Bible study I have prepared for Alan's house, as long as he's still okay with me doing it. Um, Nothing official set in stone yet, which is why I have not really done anything about this Bible study, because I still want to get with Alan and find out, hey, can I officially do this Bible study in this state and this state? Do I need to push it back? Blah blah blah. So that's the kind of stuff I want to ask him. But yes, I am planning on doing a Bible study on Noah and his ark when August rolls around. I thought that would be perfect timing because of the 40 Days and 40 Nights Gospel Concert Series that's coming to the Ark Encounter. And because of the fact that I work for the Ark Encounter, why not do a Bible study on the place I work at? Well, kind of. I mean, the Ark Encounter is just a replica of the Ark from the Bible. Anyway, so in my first chapter of my How I Met Kay and TJ series, I talked about how I met Kay and how I met her at Publix, and kind of what my friendship was like and with her, and just the fact that we started out as volunteer buddies, and how I convinced her to just start hanging out with me as friends, and then how TJ has influenced many different factors in my life, including the reason why Kay and I are close friends now. And you're about to learn more about him over the next few weeks, or next few to several weeks, I should say. And also, you're going to learn how TJ has had an impact on my YouTube channel. And you might even recognize a lot of the ideas that I put on my YouTube channel, because they're from TJ's head, but you won't know that until I say so. And I'll be discussing that, of course, over the next several weeks as I'm going through this new YouTube series on How I Met Kay and TJ. Anyway, so I met TJ in late 2015. So it's kind of an interesting story on how I met him as well. In fact, more interesting than how I met Kay, believe it or not. So I have been working for Publix for a couple of years now at this point, and I was starting to hurt financially. Unfortunately, one of the problems with Publix is, especially in Central Florida anyway, Publix relies very heavily on tourism, and that was definitely the case well, at least in Winter Haven, and a lot of the times the hours would fluctuate between 10 to 30 hours a week, and 30 hours a week was pretty much the maximum amount of hours that you could make. And the paycheck there, well, you were looking at about 250 a week. So altogether, you were lucky to make about 1,000 a month. And that's not a lot at all. In fact, every single job I've ever worked at, I've progressively made more and more and more. I think right where I'm at now is the most I've ever made in my life. But I pretty much have said that at every single job I've ever worked at. I've always, progressed up the ladder. And it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to see myself progress up that ladder. But I heard that Steak and Shake was coming to Winter Haven. Now, Steak and Shake did used to be in Winter Haven a long time ago, and then it went out of business. But to hear it was coming back, it was so exciting. And this time it was going to be kind of between Legoland and Highway 27, kind of in that area. That helps. And I was like, well, cool. So I found out that you had to play over at Giovanni's, which is basically a local New York style pizza. It's actually originally, or the owner is originally from New York. And the reason why I had to go in there to apply, now at the time I was like, huh? But the reason why I had to go in there to apply is because of the fact that the guy who was opening the Steak and Shake was from New York. And the fact that he wanted to, or he already owned all the Giovanni's in the area, and he owned a car dealership or something like that. Well, not car dealership, but he owned one of those car repair shops. Now he wanted to own his own Steak and Shake, so of course he was going to have everybody come to his main location, which was Winter Haven Giovanni's. So it was my first time in there. I went in and I sat with the assistant general manager that he hired, and the assistant general manager went over everything that he needed to go over with me, and he hired me at $9.50 an hour. It sounded like they were about to hire a bunch of people, since everybody pretty much that went in there was guaranteed a job. So when I found out how easy it was to get a job, I went to my brother and I said, "Hey, Jonathan, there's a Steak and Shake opening in Winter Haven. Why don't you try to get a job there?" Well, he was a little skeptical about it, but my mom was insistent that he didn't need a job. So my brother did end up going along with it. So I took him down there as well, and I watched him get hired. And I tried to stay out of the way because I didn't want him to get confused why I was back there again. It's like, well, you already gave me the job, and I think he did see me. He's like, "Do you need a job?" I was like, "You already hired me, so it's like I can't work two jobs here. I mean, I would like to see myself try." Well, this whole time that they were doing all the hiring, they were in the process of building the Steak and Shake, so I could see it being built. Well, eventually orientation day came. Well, he happened to also own the Winter Haven YMCA, but they weren't using it, I guess, so they had everybody kind of meet over there. So it was in that same vicinity, so it could have worked out. So I walk into the Winter Haven YMCA, and it was kind of weird seeing a bunch of people all dressed the same way. But I was like, oh, well, you know, so corporate was there that day, and they just went over everything. And I didn't really get to know anybody that day. I pretty much just kept to myself. And at the end of the day, pretty much ended up just going home. Found out when the restaurant would be open, and they pretty much let us know that they would eventually take us into the restaurant before it officially opened and let us train over there and kind of see it for ourselves. Obviously, it wasn't done yet. But eventually I did go back to the Steak and Shake, and the very first day I went in there was the very first day I was supposed to learn my position. And I guess there were other departments that were needing help. So the very first day in there, I was supposed to start my training as a host, waiter, whatever. And they asked, well, who would like to learn the fountain? Well, that was always a position that I fell in love with as a kid. I thought it would be so cool to learn the fountain and all that fun stuff. So I was like, yes, I would like to do that. Well, I was in there with corporate the entire day, and I thought I was doing pretty well, and I think they did say so themselves. So, you know, the next day I was under the impression I was going to come back in and do that, and they ended up moving me over to Dish, and I was like, okay. And there was TJ standing in front of the sink, and the way he had his body positioned, and the fact that he was really quiet, and also the fact that he was trying to avoid as much eye contact and body language of everybody told me right away he had Asperger's syndrome, like myself. So, considering I have Asperger's, I knew exactly how to talk to him. And I slowly but surely got him to open up. He did look at me and he did acknowledge to me that he was listening. And I did a very good job getting to know him. I introduced him to my brother right away. So Jonathan met him the same day I met him, probably within the 30 minutes after me meeting him. And Jonathan didn't think much about it at the time, how much he was going to be involved in my life from that day forward. But it's all good. So, I pretty much ended up working with him for a good month straight. And I noticed that he was bike riding to work, and at first he was pretty much insistent that he bike ride to work, and then eventually he got comfortable enough that I was able to take him. Well, and I first met him, his Asperger's was really bad. I mean, probably 1,000 times worse than it is now. I mean, his Asperger's is nowhere as bad as it was then. But when I got him to get in the car and give him a ride home, that was a good day. And yeah, he acted like he didn't care for the ride, but I knew he was enjoying it. I knew he was appreciating it. And I knew it was lowering the walls down, you could say. Because progressively over time, he did start to open up to me more. And I did eventually start meeting people that were important to him. And that's how I could tell that I was getting through to him. And I was happy about it. Well, the time eventually did come when things started going downhill at Steak and Shake, to the point where I basically text messaged the assistant general manager, and I basically just let him know if things didn't improve, I might be leaving. Well, he took that as I was quitting, and I was like, oh, well, who cares? So I turned in all my stuff and just went back to Publix again. But I maintained my friendship with TJ. And, in fact, actually, for the next couple of years or so, he stayed at Steak and Shake as a employee, and then eventually he became a manager. And I stayed friends with him that entire time. And you might be wondering, so, like, what did you and TJ do before the theme park days? Well, actually, funny that you mentioned that. The next chapter I'd like to talk about would be the days when TJ and I used to go bar hopping. I hate to say that out loud, but that's kind of one of the first puzzle pieces you need to hear in order to understand our friendship better. And ironically, one of those bars that I'm going to talk about is a brand new bar. That same guy that I just talked about, the Sal Visseri, who owned the Giovanni's and opened the Steak and Shake and also owned a bunch of other places, reopened a local bar in Winter Haven called the Island and renamed it to Sal's the Island Bar and Grill. Well, originally it was just called the Island Bar and Grill, but he renamed it to Sal's. And I think you'll find that part of the story really interesting, because that's when TJ and I really started developing a strong friendship. And that was around the same time that TJ went off to Connecticut and for a family event of some sort, and came back and became an assistant general manager, took over one of the manager's positions. And that's when TJ and I really started developing a strong friendship, right around the time that we were hanging out at that bar together. And at that point, of me coming to visit him at work, it was more than just me wanting to go get free food or get a well, not really free food, but discounted food or even just a milkshake. It was just me wanting to go see my friend, and I think you'll find that part of the story very interesting. So tomorrow I will be discussing the very next chapter of my friendship of TJ, which are the bar days, basically, or which is the bar days. Also, I will try to think of another really awesome discussion topic. I'm sure I could think of about something Disney or Universal related. I'll figure it out. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great night, and always remember you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great night. Peace out.